Hello, I'm Cashlin, and I'm a Chuck E. Cheese fan. I'm not that big of a fan as I am for the Rocket Fire Explosion, but I love the Pizza Time Players and Munch's Make Believe band. Now, to the people who doesn't know what Chuck E. Cheese is, this is a small history of Chuck E. Cheese. Nolan Bushnell is the founder of Atari, and he founded what he thought was a coyote costume. He purchased it and wanted to build a restaurant with Atari games, and since he thought it was a coyote costume, it was going to be called Coyote's Pizza. But when the costume came, he found out it was a rat due to the long tail, so he changed the name to Rick Rat's Pizza, but then found that name a bit inappropriate for a restaurant, so they were going to change it to the Big Cheese, but that name was apparently copyrighted by some random company. After a bit few names, they decided on Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater. And the reason why the restaurant name in the rat was named Chuck E. Cheese was because if you say Chuck E. Cheese, mostly cheese, you form a smile. And that's what they wanted. Now, since it's a restaurant, he decided to choose pizza because it took a while to make. And then they can keep on playing Atari games, mostly children, and then they can make more money. Now, since it was just not arcades and they can use that rat costume, they wanted the main entertainment to be animatronics because at the time it was cheap to make. And also, Nolan Bushnell wanted to work at Walt Disney but never got the chance, so maybe this was a triplet to Walt Disney. Who knows? Now, for Chuck E. Cheese to not be alone, he needed a band, and they decided on the Pizza Time Players. The Pizza Time Players considered the Warblettes, who were free singing crows, Krusty the Cat, who would later be replaced by Mr. Munch, Jasper T. Jowls, and what we're talking about today, the guest stars. The first Chuck E. Cheese location opened on May 17th, 1977, and it did really well, so they opened more locations. Now, somewhere in 1990, a new place called Showbiz Pizza Place was made, and the CEO of Showbiz was going to open 200 Pizza Time locations, but the animatronics did not have good improvement, and when he went to creative engineering and was like, I'm doing my own thing, Pizza Time Feeder wasn't happening. So the restaurant sued the other restaurant. Yes, like Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Feeder, not the companies, the restaurant sued Showbiz Pizza Place. Now, the court case with Showbiz and Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Feeder went on for a good another 2 years until they decided Showbiz owned Pizza Time Feeder a bunch of money. Somewhere later, the video game crash happened that affected both chains, mostly the Pizza Time Feeder, and then Nolan Bushnell redesigned as CEO of Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Feeder. So, due to the CEO redesigning, Showbiz Pizza, to get out of debt, bought up Chuck E. Cheese, and then in 1992 or 1990, creative engineering and Showbiz Pizza fell apart, and contribution happened, replacing Showbiz Pizza locations to Chuck E. Cheese locations, and the Rocket Fire turned into Munch's Make Believe band. I'll leave a link to contribution in the description. Now, the current band is Chuck E. Cheese, Mr. Munch, Helen Henny, Pasquale, and Jasper. But if you want to include Pizza Cam and Munch Jr., you can. And the band left behind all of the guest stars except for Helen Henny. So let's talk about them. Helen Henny won't be mentioned as much in here because she was barely used until the fall of Showbiz. But I will talk about her early design. Helen Henny played the ukulele and looked a lot more realistic to a goose. And yes, apparently she was a goose. Helen Henny was apparently a goose from 1997 to 1999. Then she was a chicken. And Helen Henny was inspired by Helen Reddy, an Australian artist. After some time later, she got replaced with some other guest stars. The first guest star showed up in 1978 October, and it was an Irish fox named Foxy Cowleen. Foxy Cowleen, who was from Ireland, I think, I'm not sure, we do know that she's Irish, would sing Irish folk songs. She was sweet in nature, and like the other guest stars, Jasper was flirting with her nonstop. Although she was always called Foxy Cowleen, her real last name is Flogan. I cannot read that, which is how the other characters always referred to her. After she retired, Madonna Oink appeared in locations. Madonna Oink came in 1998 of February. She had a French accent and would oink if you tell her a joke. She had a total of 7 show tapes. Madame Oink was soon to be retired and became the final guest star, actually, before Helen Henny became a main character and apparently had a relationship with Pasquale, but was dumped due to her weight. But I'm not 100% sure. She would often get her weight made fun of and was one of the most popular guest stars by far. So Madame Oink got replaced. She was replaced for a while. Came Shally Sassay the Skunk. She sang disco and was used for 1979. She only had 1 show tape before disco died down. And she was retired. She would reform, and Chucky would often complain and Sally snapping back. Jasper also flirted with her. In 1980, like I mentioned just now, disco died down. So she has retired, and Harmony Howlett came. Harmony was from Southern Texas and had 3 brothers. She was often known as the Cowgirl. She came in 1981 and her term ended in 1983. She had 2 show tapes. Harmony would sing Western songs and would stand up to herself if Chucky insulted her. Harmony became the second most popular guest star, being on many merchandise. After she died down, Madame Oink became the last guest star. She returned before Concept Unification happened, and all of the guest stars took their final bow, and Helen Henny became a permanent band member. After going over all the guest stars, and you kind of get the idea what they are right now, right? Now, the reason for their fall was simple. Chuck E. Cheese Chapter 9 bankruptcy. Yeah. When Chuck E. Cheese went bankrupt and Showbiz Pizza Place bought off all their assets, they were good separate restaurants for a good 3 years. And then the company decided, you know what? No more guest stars. And Madame Oink became the last guest star. They were all retired. However, they did make cameos in present-day Chuck E. Cheese. It still upsets me to this day they got rid of all the guest stars. But this will wrap up this video. I might do a part 2 maybe, who knows. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask you this question. You can answer in the comments. If you can own any guest star animatronic, who would it be and why? For me, it would be Foxy Cowling because I have Irish blood. And also, I really like the Foxy Cowling character.